Hi guys, my name's Barry and welcome back to the channel. I'm going to be doing a top 10 horror slasher movies from the late 90s today. Now I am a 90s teen, so it's only fitting for me to do something like this because I actually grew up watching these teen slasher movies from the late 90s, and because that's what I done, the late 90s for me with the teen slashers was my 100% entry into the horror genre. Now, I've watched horror movies since I was 5 years old, but I didn't really take them in. At that point, I was just watching them because they were horror movies, and I didn't really understand what I was watching. I only watched them because they were horror. But when I became a little bit older and I knew what I was watching and I knew the premise, etc., it was in my early teens, obviously maybe when I was 10, 11, 12, and then into my teens, I started watching the slasher movies. And obviously Scream came around in 1996 and that changed the game forever. So after that, we had movies that were not copycat movies, but they were using the same formula as Scream to ride on the success of Scream. So that's what this video is going to be about today. It's in honour of Scream. So before you think Scream's going to be in this, it's not. It's because of Scream that this list is going to be here. So Scream from 1996 is obviously not going to be included. So any movie from 1996 downwards will not be included on this list. It's a very small list with movies from 1997 to 1999. That's what I consider the late 90s teen slasher horror phase. And at number 10 is Bride of Chucky. Now, the Chucky series isn't a series that I absolutely love. I think it's a really good series with a couple of really standout movies in the franchise. But with Bride of Chucky being in there, it's obviously trying to ride the teen slasher phase. You've got Kevin Heigl in this movie. So they're trying to bring teenagers into this film. And I think when I first watched the movie, I loved it because it had the teen slasher incorporated into it. But when you look at the Chucky franchise, it's not really set up to be that teen slasher franchise, because in the first movie it's more of a detective film with one of the main characters being a little boy, and the same with part 2 as well. Although there's a teenager in it with Kyle, it's more focused on Andy as well. So it's more about the child and the doll. So when you bring in teenagers into the film, it doesn't really work. But because the whole movie tonally was completely different, then I accepted that. Looking back on it, it's not as good as it used to be, but at the same time, it's still a fun, nostalgic teen slasher film. And at number 9 is Disturbing Behaviour. Now, this is another teen slasher that doesn't really feel like it's aged too well. I remember loving it at the time that it came out. I loved Katie Holmes at the time as well. I really like Nick Stahl. I know a lot of people don't like Nick Stahl, but I like him. James Marsden's in it. So there's a whole host of actors that are still acting today in the movie. I think the story is maybe what brings this movie down. I know some people actually really like the story of Disturbing Behaviour, but they didn't think it executed it very well. I'm on the opposite scale of that. I think the movie was executed as best as it could with the story that it had, but at the same time, there's still some creepy moments in the film, some really good acting in the movie as well. It just doesn't really hold up to maybe the other ones on this list. And at number 8 is Cherry Falls. This one feels like maybe the cheapest movie on the list, but what I love about this one is the premise of it. You've got these people who shouldn't be having sex. I think they take Randy from Scream's rules literally in this film. If you have sex, you die, etc.
Number 1, you can never have sex.
So yeah, I really like the premise of this one. I love the fact that they try and shoehorn in this whodunit aspect of the film. It felt forced because that's what we had back then. We had the whodunit films. It felt more forced than a lot of films on this list, but it was still a fun movie. Brittany Murphy's in it. Brittany Murphy is absolutely amazing in this film. So yeah, there's a lot of really great memorable moments in this film as well. And at number 7 is I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. This might be the movie on the list that a lot of people don't like. I still don't understand the hate for this film. I better watch what I'm saying because half the movies on this list will be included in my anniversary series reviews, which I'll be doing full reviews for. I Still Know What You Did Last Summer is included on that. Whether this video comes out before or after that, I don't know. But I Still Know What You Did Last Summer is a very underrated movie for me. I love the aesthetic of the film, the setting, the cinematography. Even the acting was pretty good in this one. The acting was a lot better in I Still Know than it was in I Know What You Did Last Summer. So there's a lot of things going for I Still Know that I just don't understand why people don't see it. I loved the bad guy in it. I loved a couple of twists throughout the film as well, with regards to the killer, the second killer, the competition that they won. There's so many great things about this film that can't be overlooked, and I think this movie's aged very well too. It's over 25 years old now, of course. So yeah, I think I Still Know What He Did Last Summer is a great one. It came out just after I Know What He Did Last Summer. That might be why some people think it's a bit of a cash grab, but the first movie was a cash grab as well. And in fact, every movie on this list, a bar one possibly, is a cash grab film. So you can't really complain. And at number 6 is Idle Hands. This is probably the funniest teen slasher on this list. It's got Devon Sawa in the movie. Devon Sawa is absolutely amazing. You've even got Seth Green in it, Eldon Henson, Jessica Alba, Jack Noseworthy. So many great stars in this film, and this is one film that I still laugh at to this day. The soundtrack for this film, I know the soundtrack's not too important, but the soundtrack for this movie is great. It really introduced me to a lot of American singers, etc. I even got introduced to Rob Zombie from Idle Hands as well. Rob Zombie does a lot of really good music, and in this film, that's where I first saw him in it. So yeah, Idle Hands is great. It's just so funny. It's a film that I look back on that I didn't realise, but it's very Halloween themed. Everyone's dressed up. They go to the prom or the dance, the Halloween dance at the end of the film. Everyone's dressed up in a Halloween costume. It's a very Halloween themed film. I do a lot of Halloween themed lists on my channel, and I never included Idle Hands on it, but I do think, and I'll need to remember this, I need to include Idle Hands on a top 10 Halloween themed horror film because it's definitely up there. And at number 5 is Scream 2. Now Scream 2 is a film that I didn't really like when it first came out, and I think it's because I absolutely loved Scream. I wanted more of the same, which we did get, but in a lesser value than the original film. So I always put Scream 2 on a higher pedestal than I should have because I was always criticising it for being this, that and the next thing when I shouldn't have done that. I should have looked at it on its own merits, and over the years I have done that, and Scream 2 has now become my second favourite film in the Scream franchise, so that's how much I've appreciated it more as the years go by, and this year's no exception. I still love Scream 2. It's a great sequel, not as good as the first movie of course, but it's still got a lot of positives. I love the fact that it's got Sidney Prescott in it again. It's got everyone that survived from the first movie, some really great moments in the film, some great additions to the movie, and obviously the bad guys at the end with Mickey and Mrs. Loomis as well. I love Timothy Olyphant. Didn't know who he was at the time, but looking back on it, I'm thinking, how on earth did they get someone like Timothy Olyphant to star in Scream 2? So nothing but positives for Scream 2. And I also love the fact that because Scream 1 is not included in this list, none of you are going to know what my number 1 spot is, which is a really good thing. And then number 4 is I Know What You Did Last Summer. This is obviously the original to I Still Know, which was in 7th place, I believe. So number 4 is the first movie in the franchise, and I think it's because I like the characters more in this one. I don't mean Julian Ray, because Julian Ray got better in I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. I think I prefer them and I Still Know. However, I do love Ryan Philippe and Sarah Michelle Gellar in this one over Mekhi Phifer and Brandy, and I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. There's just something about them. I think it's because I was riding the Cruel Intentions phase at the time and the Buffy the Vampire Slayer phase at the time as well. So I just kind of like those characters more. The death scenes seem to be a little bit better, and I Know What You Did Last Summer as well. And overall, the story itself, because we didn't know what was happening, we didn't even know who Ben Willis was at the time. So I think the first one in a franchise is mostly always the better film, and that's true with I Know What You Did Last Summer, because I do like the story better. It's more mysterious because we didn't know what was happening, and obviously with Ryan Philippe and Sarah Michelle Gellar, then I just think it was overall a better film. I love that pageant kill as well near the middle of the movie with Sarah Michelle Gellar. So just there's more memorable moments in I Know What You Did Last Summer than I Still Know. And I know that most people will agree with me because a lot of people don't like I Still Know. So yeah, I Know What You Did Last Summer at number 4. And at number 3 is Halloween H2O. I bet you thought that was going to be my number 1, guys, but it's not. I have to be honest with myself. I absolutely love Halloween H2O, as most of you will know. It's my second favourite movie in the Halloween franchise. That's how much I absolutely adore this film. And it's similar to Bride of Chucky, that they're reincorporating the teen slasher into Halloween, into the Halloween franchise, only this time Halloween originally was a teen slasher film from the 70s, so for them to go back to the teen slashers, it only makes sense. I know a lot of people say that Halloween H2O is copying Scream, but it's obviously not. Scream is copying Halloween, and now Halloween H2O is riding the coattails of the success of Scream, as it should, and it's going back to that teen slasher where it ultimately belongs. Unlike Bride of Chucky, that's riding the teen slasher phase when it really shouldn't have, because that wasn't a teen slasher to begin with. It's only riding on the coattails of the success of Scream because of Scream, whereas Halloween's just gone back to it. So I absolutely love H2O. I love this Laurie Strode, this version of Laurie Strode in this movie. After 20 years, she's in hiding, she's changed her name. She's doing the things that a realistic person would do, unlike Halloween 2018, where that's more unrealistic in what they done. So H2O is more grounded, especially after the sequel after sequel that we got after Halloween 2 in 1981. They just didn't quite hit the mark with the grounded reality aspect, whereas H2O, it was completely grounded in reality, and I absolutely adore it for that. So Halloween H2O, absolutely fantastic. And then number 2 is Urban Legend. Now this is a film that's crept up every list that I've made that Urban Legend has been on, and there's just something about it that just, what I love about Urban Legend most out of anything in the whole entire movie is the atmosphere of this film. A lot of it is shot at night. Obviously the finale takes place at night. I didn't see the killer coming. I had no idea that it was going to be Brenda Bates, but it was, and Brenda was amazing as the killer in this movie. The cast is incredible. The cast members, I should say, the people that went on to do amazing things after this movie is incredible. You've even got some horror alum in this film with Daniel Harris and Robert Englund. There's not any bad things I can say about Urban Legend. I even got to the point where I bought myself an Urban Legend costume. I dressed up as, I didn't even think about this, but I dressed up as Brenda Bates from Urban Legend for Halloween this year. I absolutely adore this film. The score is amazing. I really love the story, the premise. Yes, they're taking the whodunit aspect from Scream, as most of the movies on this list do, but they're taking that unique spin to it because they're killing people in the fashion of urban legends. It's a really great concept, and I think one of the best kills in any teen slasher movie of all time takes place in Urban Legend at the beginning with the killer in the back seat. Absolutely amazing. And it's rounded off with Brad Dourif screaming, "Someone's in the back seat!" And then number 1 is The Faculty. This is the teen slasher movie with a sprinkle of sci-fi. And when I say a sprinkle of sci-fi, it feels like it's supposed to be an outright sci-fi movie, which it generally is a sci-fi film. But what it does is it takes a sci-fi script and sprinkles in that teen slasher element to it. It brings in the whodunit element as well, and it takes place mostly at a high school. When I heard the story, I was like, I'm sold. When I saw the trailer for it, I'm like, I'm absolutely sold. And when it was the same company that done Scream and From Dusk Till Dawn, Halloween H2O, I was like, I'm there. I have to see this movie, and it didn't disappoint. It's got at least 20 actors in this film that I absolutely love. I'm not going to name them all because there's just too many to name, and all of them, almost all of them, have went on to do amazing things and be in Oscar-winning movies as well. So the cast itself speaks for itself. The story is unique. The story is amazing. I just love the fact that I was in high school at the time, and when I heard that there was a movie about these teachers who are aliens and the students have to find out who the aliens are, I'm like, this is amazing. I watched this movie when I was in high school. After I watched it, I went to high school the day after thinking that teacher could be an alien, that teacher could be an alien. It just felt so grounded, even though it was far-fetched. It was a fictional movie, felt like it was made in a grounded reality. There's just so many great things about The Faculty. I'm actually going to be doing a 25th anniversary of The Faculty, so I will be talking about it more in that video. But I just want to say, guys, The Faculty is, to me, the greatest teen slasher movie of the late 90s. I'm not saying it's the greatest teen slasher movie of all time. I'm really narrowing my search here because it's from 97 to 1999. The Faculty lands right in the middle of that in 1998. So I'm not saying it's the greatest slasher of all time. However, to me, it's definitely the greatest teen slasher movie of the late 90s.
Guaranteed to jack you.
So that's my top 10 of the late 90s, guys. But what is your top 10 teen slasher movies of the late 90s? Again, you can't include Scream because this list is inspired by Scream. So what is your top 10 excluding Scream? Is there anything that I've missed out? Or have I included all your top 10 just in the wrong order? As always, guys, leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think, and I'll talk to you soon.
Meeting adjourned.
I'll be right back.
What are you waiting for, huh?
Coming to get you, Barbara.
Ever played Skin the Cat?
Someone's in the back!